I am a very regular declutterer. I probably every month am just doing a quick spin through my house, maybe 15 minutes or so, opening every drawer and cabinet and just looking for anything obvious that needs to be decluttered. Always getting rid of things. I'm not attached to anything, not very sentimental, but recently I've been noticing I have all kinds of other stuff. So I thought it might be kind of a fun challenge to take all the boxes that have accumulated in my house in the last month from Christmas purchases to be used for decluttering. So I'm going to fill every one of these boxes with clutter that can go out of my house or with trash that can't be donated because it's not in good condition, but that still needs to leave my house. And I'm hoping to have a really wonderful reset. I often feel at this time of year like I'm gonna burn this house down because I feel so overwhelmed by it. And I don't know if that's just because I'm home for more days or because there's so much stuff that's been added from the Christmas celebration. But I do know that I always have such a nice clean slate feeling after I do this. So let's see how many donations I can find. Okay, I've got my donation box and a trash bag right next to me so that this is easily done. I hope you'll grab your own trash bag and box and just get started with me. I think that you'll find that even just in these 30 minutes that you're going to get a lot accomplished. But this cabinet is primarily filled with kids' activities that I don't want my son getting out when I'm not there with him. They're things that like could make a mess, or that I could have colorful things happening all over my walls or stuff like that. And we do probably use these, several times a week, but I don't want him to have independent access to them. And so I just love having some things that are different than toys, that are like sensory and learning play. And so these are kind of like my Ask Mom activities for him. On the left side of this cabinet, I mostly keep things for myself. And so I'm going through our paper files, which I do once a year, and just looking for anything that I don't need to hold on to anymore. Mostly I would say that's like pet vaccination records and that sort of thing that are expired. And then the new one is already in the file. So I'm just checking for things, sometimes like the last year's tax stuff that I can shred. And that just keeps things pretty tidy. And yes, that's all of our files. This is my like ongoing incoming paper system. One of the things that I keep in here is my someday maybe folder. And I just keep like magazine pages that have things that I liked, that I maybe wanted to buy or was inspired by or want to cook or something like that. Or, anything like that I'd like to explore in the future. I do have a pile of a few little actionables, so I'll put those aside and work on those a little bit later. This cabinet, which is above our coffee maker and toaster oven, really just needed a quick tidy. Okay, we're onto the pantry, and if you're like me, after December, you have purchased all kinds of food that you don't usually purchase, and the last thing you need to do is be eating it. And so I'm always ready for kind of a fresh start. I'm not like a new year, new you kind of person, but I definitely I don't need to have junk in my house, and certainly, like, I know I have a box of gingerbread cookies in here. Those don't feel quite so seasonal in January. So I'm going to start going through this and kind of just returning everything to order. One of the things you'll see me take out of here is a little candy jar that my son made in preschool, but I can tell that the teacher made it, so I'm not going to get attached to that. I'm going to go ahead and toss it. This cart for my baking items. My baking stuff in my kitchen is on the far side of my kitchen, so I just roll this whole cart out whenever I'm going to bake, which is very rarely. But I do it, like seasonally or like for a special occasion. So I don't want to take up cabinet space with those items, but this is such an easy portable solution whenever I am ready to bake. Comment, because there's a ton of food that is Optavia, or however you say that my husband has, because he's wanting to do that plan in January. And this might be a good time to just mention that there's more than one person that lives in your household. I don't touch any of my husband's stuff. I care about him, and I don't want to get rid of anything that maybe he cares about or has plans to use. So whatever my opinions are on it, however long it's been in my pantry, whether or not it's expired or can be eaten, I don't worry about that. I'll let him worry about that. But occasionally I'll check in and ask if he still wants to keep the Optavia stuff, and last I checked, he does. So we're just gonna leave that. I'll leave it entirely untouched. Sometimes I just go through and like consolidate, and like put like things together, check for any empty boxes. That's really all I'm doing, because I just want to honor him. Regularly looking at your pantry really helps you to know what to plan meals around, and it helps you not to have food go to waste, which saves you a tremendous amount of money. And you may notice, my pantry does not store large amounts of food, and I'm really comfortable with that. We made it through the pandemic just fine, and I'm just very comfortable with having a smaller amount on hand. Okay, we're on to the kitchen, and I'm going to open every cabinet and every drawer and move things around a little bit so that I can see what I'm working with and what I need to deal with. Now, there's one cabinet in my kitchen that I know for sure really needs some reorganization, but honestly, one of the things that I find is that when you start going through stuff, sometimes you don't need an organizational system, you just had too much stuff in the cabinet. So I'm gonna look in every cabinet, even if I don't really feel like I store that much in there, or if I feel like it's things that we rarely use, I'm gonna look in every cabinet and see what I can find. So you may notice that I definitely have a preference for white and natural woods and beige. And I really do think that the aesthetics of a cabinet when you open it is very soothing to the brain. And so I prefer it that way. And I really don't feel like it costs more to buy things that are in a specific color than it does to just buy whatever you can find in most cases. And so for me, it's worth the extra effort of trying to find it in the color that I prefer. this looks pretty good, except for this marker needs to go into this drawer, and I'm gonna wipe the crumbs out of this drawer. Placing these extra oven mitts in my roasting pan because most of the time when I need extras, then it's because it's a holiday, so I know right where I'll find them. I want to encourage you that you can really live without a full cookware set. I have one pot and pan for each burner on my stove, so that's 5. And then I also have large stock pots. I do make bone broth and batch cook soup very regularly, so it's nice to just keep them where I use them instead of having to run down to my basement or something like that. Okay, this is a cabinet of doom, and I kind of knew going into this that this was going to be one where it was like, well, it's too bad I have to open the door to the internet. But when we moved into this house, we had a trash can installed on the door of the other side of this cabinet, and it's like somewhat enclosed, so it's not like there's trash that's getting all over this. It hasn't been a problem at all, but I have just kind of treated it like a trash can and just thrown crap in there all the time. But these are things that I do actually really use, and so I would like to find a good place for some of this stuff. Now, probably like everyone, my under sink area is quick to get disorderly. It's a tough place to organize just because there's the pipes and so much to work around. But I had a little bit of a subscribe and save mishap and now have dish detergent for the rest of my days. But I do have room for it, so I'm just putting it in this basket so that I'll know where to find it when the time comes to refill my jar. I'm just tidying these first aid supplies because those things often get grabbed for in a real hurry, and so I'm not always careful to put things back. But I'm just also checking if there's anything that's expired or anything like that so that we have a good stock if we need it. I do keep a laundry basket under the sink for kid laundry and kitchen laundry that gets generated, and I really love that since our laundry room is upstairs. I keep all of my small appliances except what you saw over on the coffee area, my espresso machine and toaster oven, which I use daily so they stay out. I don't bake often, so the stand mixer is heavy, but I only use it probably 5 times a year, so it's worth it to me to have to get it out each time. I use a narrow bin to house all the loose pieces, parts, and attachments for all of these small appliances so that I can easily put my finger on them when I need to use them. This little hutch certainly does collect things. I'm very guilty of throwing things in there at the last minute, but this I'm gathering into a box is just a thermostat that my husband was going to maybe reinstall in our house after ours broke, and he installed one temporarily. But I don't know when or if he's going to get to this project, and I don't really care if he does, but I'm gathering everything into one box so that it's easily done whenever he's ready for it. I keep some entertaining supplies in the first 2 drawers of this hutch, and then the bottom has my paper goods. I keep a couple of cleaning supplies down here so that kitchen or bathroom cleanups are easily done. And I did decide to put the little basket that's up above that I use for utensils in the paper goods drawer, because that way I can use it at the same time. We added these built-ins to the living room when we moved in, and this cabinet stores games, which I wrapped in craft paper during COVID because we all went a little crazy. But again, aesthetics really do matter to me, so I actually quite like the way that this looks because I don't have to see all of the different packaging. I have little labels on them that tell me what each one is, and I really like the way that this cabinet looks. So my son's game collection is growing, and so I've decided to put his in this same cabinet, and who knows, maybe I'll wrap his too. In these 2 drawers, I keep Bible study stuff and sometimes notes from sermons. And I have to be realistic that I'm very unlikely to return to any of these notes. And if I do, they'll be much more easily found digitally. So I try to remember to just take a picture. Among this stack of books, there is a little photo album I made of a cat that we had that died a few years back. And I've decided to get rid of the photo album because really the sentimentality is no longer there. I get ready every morning in our powder bathroom, so all of my bathroom stuff is in here. I'm not a person who struggles with options or wondering if there's a better product out there. For a special occasion, I just wear more of my everyday makeup, and I use a finishing spray so that it lasts, and I curl my hair. And this way, I don't have to store a lot of options, and I can easily fit everything in this small of a vanity cabinet. When we moved into this house, I was pretty nervous about our entryway situation because our garage entryway and our front entryway are the same space. And I had all kinds of ideas about what we were going to do for built-ins, and maybe we should reuse the dining room as a mud room and all these things. And I lived with it for a year, and it turns out I really didn't need any of that. So sometimes it's really good to just live with things for a little bit. But I will say that this closet, though it serves our needs, it's an area that gets chaotic, so I really have to do something about it almost every month. I don't really think that's because it's disorganized. I really think that's because it has stuff that we use absolutely every day, and so it's really easy to not put things in the right spot. So I'm going to use what I see as data to help me to know what I need to do to adjust my organizational system in this closet and make it work a little bit better for my family. So these brown bags I got this fall thinking that they would be good like go bags, and I wanted to have one for teaching Sunday school and then one for a mom's ministry that I'm part of. And I find that I use the bag all the time and that I use it when I just need something larger than a purse, but I don't really need the same things in it every time. So I think that I'm gonna do one as a go bag for the mom's ministry that I'm part of, because that I really do keep the same things in all the time. And then I'm just gonna have the other one be empty and available as a secondary purse if I need it to just grab and go. This is our toy room, and I would love to say that this is not an area where there's constant upkeep, but you know, there really is. And my son especially loves to bring things from his grandparents' house, and so there's always kind of like toys in flux. I definitely try to get those back in a bag to take back to my parents whenever we see them, which is about once a week. And that really helps to kind of minimize the inflow over here. So I already went through toys with my son before Christmas because I wanted to make sure that we had room to put everything that he received for Christmas away. And he was actually really willing to give quite a bit away. I just put out a bag and I said, if you want any of your toys to go to other kids, then you can put them in this bag. And if you see any toys that you think need to go in the trash, you can put those in the trash. And otherwise, let's just play with your toys. And like, he loves cars, and so we kind of made a game out of it. I said, let's make a parking lot, and we did that. And you know, he was able to see all of his cars, and then in doing that, there were ones that were broken that he said he wanted to put in the trash, and then there were also ones that I was surprised, but he told me that they were broken and showed me different things on them that were broken, and he hadn't been playing with them. I kept his toys that he chose for about 3 weeks because, to be honest, some of them I thought, he still plays with that. I think he's gonna miss that, but he hasn't asked for them. And so I am going to go ahead and donate the things that he chose. I'm just gonna do a quick cleanup in here because I'm alone in here. And there's just a couple of things that I'd like to put away. In our unfinished basement, I am just going to do a quick tidy and look for any donations or items that are out of place. So this ugly 4th of July wreath is going. We used it to decorate for a parade. Against my better judgment, I'm going to save these birch logs even though I've already decorated for winter and didn't find a use for them. They were quite hard to come by when I got them, and so I want to hang on to them just in case. And now I'm just returning a couple of suitcases and bags to their right locations. And I'm also emptying out our diaper bag. And this one's tough for me to part with because I really would love more children, but it's really unlikely in our situation. So it's time to let it bless another mama. And I know that if God gives us more children, then diaper bags are quite easy to come by. Up to my son's bedroom, I'm going to go through clothing, toys, and books. And I accepted some hand-me-downs about a year ago, and I honestly should know myself better. I don't remember that I have it. He's pretty particular about textures, so not everything is a good choice. And his sizing doesn't often align with what I would predict that it would be. So I'm passing all of this on. We do give boy clothes to another family in our church that are super blessed by it, so I don't have a lot of guilt over this. I love to make quilts, which I make out of neutral fabrics for the most part because I realized that I didn't use or display quilts that didn't match my decor, and I wanted to show them off. So now I can because they match my house. So I'm just getting rid of any craft supplies that I won't use or that I no longer like. 3 of these drawers are dedicated to active, ongoing projects, and so that's really helpful for me because it kind of gives me a limit, helps me not to buy too far ahead for too many projects, and just kind of keeps my creativity in check. I'm tidying my laundry and gift wrap supplies, and the biggest piece of advice that I can give is to use ribbon for color and just stick with a signature wrapping paper so that you don't have to store a ton of options. In my closet, I made myself try on every item, and if I wouldn't wear it today, it went out with the giveaway pile. I love knowing that everything in here is a right now option. And I even found some things that I had forgotten how much I liked. This will make mornings so much easier. I also noticed these cowgirl boots when I was in here, and I decided to list them on Facebook Marketplace right away. I keep thinking I'll get invited to an event where I'll need cowgirl boots, but honestly, I think I can figure it out if that happens. And I don't need to keep storing these for the possibility that I might need them. And by the end of the day, they were gone. Well, with all of this out of my house, I am breathing a little easier, and I know it's going to make my life so much more streamlined. So I hope you worked along with me and that you'll join me on the next one. And meanwhile, please like and subscribe.